Hey guys, what's going on? True Strength here, and today we're going to be doing a balanced Druid PvP guide for patch 6.2.3. Today I'm going to be covering talents, glyphs, stat priorities, and rotation. So without further ado, we'll be starting off with talents. For tier 15, we have Feline Swiftness, Displacer Beast, and Wild Charge. 99% of the time you're going to be playing with Displacer Beast. Pretty much this lunges you forward 20 yards and increases your movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. You could also play with Wild Charge, which gives you different mobility gains depending on what form you're in. But I believe that you can achieve greater results with Displacer Beast with proper gameplay. Tier 30, you have Gift, Renewal, and Cenarian Ward. For the vast majority of the time, you'll also be playing with Gift. It's a heal over time effect. If you are not missing any health, if you are at full health, it would choose a nearby friendly target who has lost some health, and it will begin to heal them. But the very moment that you take damage, the gift will come back to you and begin to heal you. So pretty much it's just a non-stop pot that you don't have to pay attention to. It's a constant heal, so I consider it a pretty good defensive per se. Tier 45, we have Fury Swarm, Mass Entanglement, and Typhoon. In this tier, you will be swapping between Fury Swarm and Typhoon. On maps like Eye of the Storm or LM fights in Arathi Basin, I would play with Typhoon. That way you can achieve knockbacks, knocking enemy players off the map. That way your team can gain a player advantage. Against teams with maybe a rogue or druids or even night elves, for instance, because they can shadow meld, you can apply Fury Swarm to them, preventing them from entering stealth. Also, I like to play with Fury Swarm against melee. That way, because Fury Swarm provides a 50% decreased movement speed for 15 seconds, and it is spammable in Moonkin form, so you can keep a non-stop slow on the enemy player, keeping them at bay. That way you can create distance between you and the enemy character. For the level 60 tier, we have Soul of the Forest, Incarnation, and Force of Nature. You'll be playing the majority of the time with Incarnation. This increases all your spell damage by an additional 15%, and it lasts for 30 seconds, so it's a pretty big offensive cooldown, and it's even better when it's paired up with Celestial Alignment, which is your other offensive cooldown. You could also play with Force of Nature, especially against melee, especially if you're in duels, or maybe you notice that the BG's melee heavy, as whenever you summon a treant, it will instantly root the target in place, as well as cast Wrath on the target. But yeah, like I said, it does really good against melee, but for the vast majority of the time, you will be playing with Incarnation. Level 75 tier, you have Incapacitating Roar, Vortex, and Mighty Bash. I play Mighty Bash most of the time, as it is a 5-second stun. Granted, it's on a 50-second cooldown, but it's a 5-second stun. It adds a little bit more CC to the game, and you can use it in all shapeshift forms. You could also play with Vortex in some situations. Maybe you catch like a caster heavy team and they're standing right on top of one another. You can put your Soul's Vortex on them and then put Solar Beam to silence them and keep them in there for a few seconds to make sure you keep them silenced for a good amount of time. But like I said, for the most part, you're going to be playing with Mighty Bash. Level 90 tier, you have Heart of the Wild, Dream of Cenarius, and Nature's Vigil. As we all know, Heart of the Wild did receive a nerf in 6.2, so it's not as good anymore. Not saying that it's bad. I mean, it's still a decent talent, but not as good as it once was. For the most part, you're going to be playing with Nature's Vigil. I'll read it off to you real quick. For 30 seconds, all single target healing and damage. Spells and abilities also heal a nearby friendly target based on the amount done, 20% for heals and 40% of damaging spells. So there's nothing like popping all your offensive cooldowns and using Nature and Vigil at the same time. Does a great amount of healing. Pretty much you and your teammates not going to die during offensive cooldowns. Also in big AoE battles, whenever you're using Starfall and pumping out all of your Moonfires and Sunfires, it also does a large amount of healing then as well. For the level 100 tier, we have Euphoria, Stellar Flare, and Balance of Power. Here you're going to be playing with Euphoria. You feel a deeper connection to the stars, reducing your balance energy cycle time by 50%. Additionally, your lunar and solar empowerments also reduce the cast time of your affected spells by 20%. So in a sense, this is going to reduce the cast time of your Wrath and Starfire depending on whether you're in lunar or solar eclipse. Also, it helps to cycle through these eclipses at a rate of 50% quicker. That way, you have access to other abilities such as your Moonfire and Sunfire. That way, you're able to pump those out and get out more spread pressure and multi-dot. Okay, guys, for Glyphs, we will have Glyph of Bark Skin, which reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by 25% while Bark Skin is active. It just makes you empowers your defensive, allowing you not to be crit. Survivability is what it's all about. Glyph of Cyclone, which just increases the range of Cyclone by 5 yards. And Glyph of Master Shapeshifter, which reduces mana costs of all shapeshifts by 100%. For minor glyphs, there's nothing too huge here. I use Glyph of Untamed Stars. Gives your Starfall a 40-yard radius. I also play with Glyph of Flapping Owl. So if you're taking, like, if you're falling or whatever, let me see if I can get to an area to show you. Pretty much if you get knocked off like a LM or anywhere like that where you're going to be falling to your imminent death, pretty much you can activate. It gives you an actual ability, which you can find in your general tab under right here. It's under flap. So whenever you're falling, you can hit that keybinder, whatever, and it will begin to flap the Moonkin wings and slowing your fall speed just like this. And even after you land, you can continue to do it and just flap around everywhere, just make you look like a complete idiot. But whatever, it is what it is. It saves your life, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, for Glyphs, that's the main. That's the main three that you're going to be playing with, and as minor glyphs go, that's really the only two that I play with. There's none that are really useful or anything like that. So yeah, that's it for glyphs, guys. Okay, guys, for stat priority, our main stat is going to be Mastery, which is greater than Versatility, which is greater than Haste, which is greater than Crit, and then Multi-Strike. What Mastery does, it increases the maximum bonus damage from Eclipse by whatever percentage of Mastery you have. So whenever you start shifting into your Eclipse and you get 100%, your Mastery is going to increase the amount of damage you do from the bonus of the Eclipses. Versatility, pretty much this is going to increase your all-around damage while in PvP and reduce the amount of damage you take depending on how much versatility you have. But that's your main stats, guys. Mastery, Versatility, Haste, Crit, and then Multi-Strike. For the rotation, guys, as you can see here, we have an Eclipse bar. This is constantly rotating between lunar and solar empowerments. During lunar empowerment, you will have access to Moonfire and extra abilities to Starfire. During solar empowerment, you will have access to Sunfire as well as the increased Wrath abilities. So whenever you open up, let's say with Moonfire, as you can see, it will begin the rotation of our bars as our eclipses. It'll go all the way to 100%, and then as you can tell, it will rotate all the way back to solar empowerment and reach its 100% mark. During the 100% mark, you always want to make sure to reapply your dots, as it does give them increased damage over time. Same thing goes for lunar empowerment. Whenever it gets to 100%, always make sure to refresh your dots to get that increased damage from them. As you can see here, we have access to star surges and star falls. These share a three charges, so if you use Starfall, it will also drop the Star Surge down to 2 charges. You mainly want to use Star Surge for single target damage, and you want to use Starfall for big group fights for AoE, pumping out that spread pressure. So let's say you're in out of the storm when everybody meets up in the middle, you'll pop your Starfall and start spreading around your dots. Maybe in a 1v1, for instance, you'll be using your Star Surge. Star Surge gives your Starfires and Rasp increased effects. It decreases the cast time and gives a damage boost to your Starfire, and it just gives a flat out damage increase to your Rasps. So like I said, just depending on the situation, single target damage, Star Surge, Starfall for AoE. At 100%, you always want to be making sure that you reapply your I forgot the name of it there for a second. Moonfire and Sunfire, depending on which empowerment you're in. That way, they're getting the increased damage over time. So, as I said, guys, this is a fairly simple rotation, just keeping good dot uptime, depending on the situation, using Star Surge for single target damage and Starfall for AoE, and doing what you need to do. But, oh yeah, there was one more thing. We have a passive empowered Moonkin. Single target attacks against you in Moonkin form have a 15% chance to make your next damaging spell instant cast. So whenever you have melee beating on you, maybe you've watched some of my PvP videos of Moonkin. Whenever I have melee beating on me, I'll suddenly get a Starfire or Wrath instant cast. So that's the reason why, it's because of that passive right there. Also, one more thing to note is whenever you see like the extra procs of Star Surge popping up over here, that is due to the most recent tick from Moonfire or Sunfire. The chance is doubled whenever it is a critical strike. Yeah, I think it's originally just a 5% chance whenever a tick occurs for you to get a extra Star Surge proc. If it's a critical strike, of course, that increases to 10%. But yeah, guys, it's a fairly basic rotation. Nothing too difficult. Just make sure you're paying attention to your empowerments, reapplying your dots as needed. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or want any other videos, just make sure to let me know in the comments below. And one more thing, I'm going to be doing a burst guide here within the next few days, depending on how everything goes. So keep your eye out for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.